This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Eaze, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Whether you live in California and can take advantage of Eaze's super easy-to-use website to place an order for legal cannabis delivery, or if you're just a consumer of information and data about marijuana consumers and the industry at large, you can find what you need over at eaze.com and eaze.com/blog. Eaze's online ordering system, found at eaze.com, is attuned to your particular location, so you'll only see what's available in your local area, assuming you live in a place where delivery is allowed. And by jumping over to eaze.com/blog, you'll be able to dive into their 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report, which pulls all sorts of invaluable bits of consumer behavior and demographic information and wisdom out of their delivery data flow, which they always aggregate and anonymize. One last time, that's eaze.com and eaze.com/blog, with Eaze spelled E-A-Z-E. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 422 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a big one, with the city of San Francisco announcing plans to retroactively wipe clean the criminal records of thousands of people convicted of marijuana crimes, stretching their sights all the way back to 1975. The state will apply today's progressive marijuana laws, which we all know allows for legal cannabis to be grown, sold, possessed, used, and shared, to past convictions, of which there are more than 3,000 misdemeanors and just under 5,000 felonies. This will have a hugely positive effect on the thousands of people whose records will be cleared by removing conviction-related roadblocks that pop up in things like job searches, federal housing assistance, and student loans. Under California's Proposition 64, people with nonviolent marijuana charges on their records are free to petition a court to seal their past convictions, but the process takes time and money that many people just don't have, especially the most financially disadvantaged, who are the most likely to be negatively impacted by having a past conviction. San Francisco's bold step is exactly what other cities and localities need to take, and I hope it becomes a model for others to follow. Marijuana Business Daily has a great story up about the crashing price of wholesale and retail cannabis in Oregon, with some reports of 50 pounds of shake and trim being available to wholesale buyers and $50 ounces up for sale in dispensaries. Bart Shainman takes a good look at some of the causes of that big downward price trend, which mostly seems attributable to an oversaturation of new cultivators flooding the state. This is one of our industry's bigger, longer-term issues, as it doesn't really cost very much to grow cannabis on a large industrial level. And while there will likely always be a market for small batch boutique cannabis flower, the future really does seem to belong to enormous outdoor fields overseen by automated tractors, just like every other commodity crop of the day. Marijuana Business Daily's piece is a good time slice of that larger, ongoing storyline. Our final top story of the day swings us up to my corner of the country here in Maine, where today marks a bit of a milestone in progressive marijuana policy reform. I'm proud to report that as part of last fall's ballot measure approving legal adult use cannabis here in Maine, state law was changed for the first time in the nation so that people applying for jobs can no longer be disqualified for using marijuana in their free time. Today, that part of the law goes into effect even as adult use sales continues to be delayed by obstructionist Governor Paul LePage. Employers remain free to enforce marijuana-free workplaces and can fire or discipline employees caught consuming on the job, but they can no longer cite a failed drug test as evidence of being impaired at work. There are also some jobs that require federally mandated drug tests, like truck driving, that are not included in the new policy change, but otherwise a lot of Mainers will no longer be faced with the prospects of losing a job offer because they choose to consume cannabis. Nice work, Maine. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Eaze, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Today, I'm going to jump into Ease's just released 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report for a quick hit of useful information. Scrolling a little less than a third of the way down reveals a chart showing the 2-year evolution of cannabis product category sales trends, split up between flower, pre-rolls, edibles, drops, topicals, concentrates, and vaporizers. What those colorful bars reveal is an erosion in the market share held by marijuana flower sales that have seemed to have found a plateau over the last half of 2017. Eating up most of that lost market share is vaporizers, with pre-rolls picking up some of the scraps. Interestingly, the overall market share of concentrates has also fallen sharply over the last 2 years and is now handily eclipsed by edibles. Having this kind of knowledge is vital for succeeding in today's hyper-competitive market. The best way to position yourself for the future is to have a full understanding and accounting of the past and present, so arm yourself with all the informational ammunition you need by opening up ease.com/blog, where you can read their 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report. And remember, Ease is spelled E-A-Z-E. Ease.com/blog and ease.com for California legal marijuana delivery. All right, time for the Blitz. Mary Jane has a great article up looking at a lawsuit filed recently by the California Growers Association, a trade group representing state cannabis farmers, against the California Department of Food and Agriculture over a change in policy that allows cultivation license holders to collect an unlimited number of medium-sized licensed farms, setting up the potential for an aggregated market controlled by a small number of well-financed companies, controlling the bulk of licensed cultivation space. The Growers Association makes a good point that last year's Amendment 64 included language protecting smaller-scale farmers from being eaten up by better-financed operations by imposing a 5-year delay on issuing the largest of the planned cultivation license types. Amendment 64 also said nothing about allowing farmers to hold an unlimited number of smaller license types. This is a big, complex story, so I'd pop over to Mary Jane for the full read. Yesterday, a group of elected officials, hailing mostly from Colorado, but including a few from Vermont, Maine, Arizona, Oregon, New Mexico, and Alaska, sent a letter to U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions asking that he convene a task force with the goal of bringing states and federal marijuana law in line with one another. And given the states from which those lawmakers hail from, I'll leave it up to you as to which direction the lawmakers want Sessions to take federal law in. The group of 109 lawmakers call themselves Leaders for Reform and consists of a mix of state legislators, county officials, and local and city councilors, as well as the lieutenant governor and some mayors. Another story from up here in Maine, as Governor Paul LePage agreed yesterday to delay the implementation of new rules governing the state's medical marijuana program until May to give lawmakers time to work out new legislation. This is an issue I've reported on before, as many in the state's medical marijuana community, especially its caregiver population, are concerned over the proposed stricter new rules around cultivation, testing, and patient processing. For now, things will stay as they have been, with more changes to follow later in the spring. Licensed Canadian medical marijuana provider Harvest One Cannabis just announced the closing of a previously announced round of $40 million Canadian in funding through a deal with a syndicate of underwriters led by Mackey Research Capital Corporation. Zip over to New Cannabis Ventures for all the details on this one. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Congratulations to the folks over at GHC Inc., otherwise known as Willie Nelson's Cannabis Company, for its recently closed round of funding of $12 million, which it will use to enter the California market with its Willie's Reserve brand. The round was funded by a number of high net worth individuals, institutional investors, and industry VC firms Tuatara Capital and Hyper Ventures. Thanks to superfan Alex in Chicago for sharing this next headline, with The New Yorker taking a long-form look at the evolution in cannabis culture taking place in California, with marijuana shedding its stoner image in favor of a more Golden State-appropriate focus on wellness, health, and a good dose of ostentatious luxury. Open this one up, if only for the gorgeously shot photos. And finally for today, we wrap up our news day up in Vermont, where state lawmakers are discussing plans for how to test drivers for being too impaired by cannabis use to safely drive. This is also one of our industry's bigger issues, as there is currently no scientifically valid way of quantifying someone's state of highness at any given point. That's not stopping Vermont lawmakers, though, from proposing the use of ineffective roadside saliva tests. Right now, the State House Committee on Transportation is still deliberating things, so we'll continue to keep an eye out. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back at the end tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. What do you call a factory that sells passable products? A satisfactory. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome Patreon listeners for the support that makes this show possible. That was a funny one. To join the listeners' ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.